Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. This weekend after Sunday here in California time, that night or early Monday morning here, Pacific Standard Time, I'll be flying to Korea for about 4 weeks to do my work there. So this is our last chant class together for a while in this timetable. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. Okay, very good. I see that you have a lot of questions. They're unspoken. All right. When I started 20 years ago, I was basically confused because I wasn't sure of what I was supposed to do. When my master told me to teach, he didn't say anything, he just said to teach. So I taught chant because that's what I liked. I like chant a lot. So I thought I would teach chant to share with you what I love. Because before teaching, I was extremely happy practicing chant every day. After I started teaching, I was miserable every single day. So probably it's due to the fact that my happiness went over to you, spread out, so there's nothing is left, probably. But when I first started, I didn't know what to expect of you. I didn't know how long I could do it because no support, no resources, no knowledge, no track record. Actually, I was under a lot of oppression from my master's disciples, so didn't have many expectations. So I set a new style by saying, this is what I would expect from you. And my goal back then was to tell you a certain level of expectations, milestones, if you will. So today, maybe I take a little bit of time to tell you about my current thinking, if you will. When you practice chant, the first step is for you to reach first dhyana. It should be spelled out to you. When you teach chant, all of you teachers out there, meaning especially my disciples, you have newcomers, eventually you need to learn to recognize the levels, and eventually you will be able to, because the principle behind it is, of course, you need to reach a certain level before you're more accurate, and something that becomes better, you become more accurate over time, like I did. The principle is the higher level will recognize low level. Low levels cannot recognize high levels. Okay? So therefore, you are teaching because typically you are high level. That's why I allow you to teach. I expect the newcomers, beginners classes, not to have a chance to be at your level. Okay? So I want all of you instructors out there, okay, that I'm asking you to teach, especially a left-home person. You need to have the desire to be able to recognize the students' levels. Start with that. Eventually, when you are good enough, when you're high enough level of samadhis, I will teach you how. Okay? But start first with that. We as a teachers, my style is that you need to recognize students' levels. And that's why I'm very scary, let me tell you. Every time I look at a person, I see a new person. monk or nun, layperson, man, child. I look at them and said, this is what you are. Why is it important? Because your level, the reason you're there, because you have some problems that keeps you there, and you don't know how to solve it. And that's why you're stuck there. Okay? So we as teachers, the better teachers will be able to recognize it so that you can be of help, much better help, help your students get out of that rut a lot faster. However, you have nothing to worry about because unlike my teacher, I developed a system where my instructors don't need to know your level, but they go through this standardized way of teaching chant, okay, that will help you get the first dhyana. If you stick around for 3 months, you reach first dhyana. So it's automatic, more or less. You stick around, come to the temple on the weekends for 3 months, go home and practice as you're told to for an hour, okay, so forth. 3 months or less, you will reach first dhyana. We standardized it. So therefore, for our students, first dhyana is no longer a challenge. Okay? So that's out of the way for you. Okay? First level, you want to get a first dhyana because you will experience dhyana bliss. It's you are a better person than ordinary people already. Okay? Yes, DTT.
Master, I have a question. How to practice 随喜功德 properly? In my mind, 随喜功德 is simply, I'm happy for your merit, virtue, and progress. But I always wonder, is there more to it, and how do I practice?
随喜功德 is merit and virtue is clear, right? 随喜, okay? 随 is to follow. Follow the 功德 and be happy about it. The Chinese is very, very precise, very succinct, very concise, but they're very, very precise. 随喜功德. So the key word is 功德. If you see 功德, okay, meaning when you see 功德, meaning when you see someone creating merit and virtue, okay, you follow along. 随 is follow along and be happy for their creating the merit and virtue. It's beautiful. I don't know the original Sanskrit teaching, but I am enamored with the Chinese version of it. It's so concise, it's so beautiful, it's so accurate. Okay? So 随喜功德 is that you recognize that someone did something meritorious and virtuous, okay? And therefore, you go along with that. You don't fight it. Okay? Meaning you see someone doing some good. You 随, you follow along with that merit and virtue. You don't say, I don't like it. You don't talk out of it. Okay? All right? Yeah. So you say, you don't become you don't become jealous. Actually, you're happy. The opposite of jealousy is happy. You're happy they are creating merit and virtue, and you follow along. Meaning that you don't fight it, you don't slander it, you don't criticize it. You 随, you follow along, you accord with that. Okay? And this is what my master taught, which is the 5th practice from Universal Worthy. This is the core of our practice, of our cultivation, is 随喜功德. Okay? Meaning that we are not jealous when you're better than us. when you're able to create merit and virtue, helping a lot of people, doing something wonderful and nice for others, we're happy about it. We don't slander you. We don't try to bring you down to our lower level. Okay? We're not jealous of you. Okay? Because as long as we recognize is what you're doing is meritorious and virtuous, okay? We're happy about it. And let me go back to and make a side comment, which is what makes me disappointed with my teachers, my peers, my teachers' disciples. They don't 随喜功德. 随喜功德 means that you don't look at yourself as number one. That everyone has a chance to do merit and virtue. As long as you do any kind of merit, any kind of thing, that you can recognize the merit and virtue, what they're doing. They may be doing something bad. No one is perfect. Okay? But you 随喜功德 is that you ignore the negative. You 随喜 the 功德. It is very clear. Universal Worthy's teachings. You dwell on the positive. You are constructive. You 随喜功德 is very constructive. Okay? And the unspoken part is that no one is perfect. You only look at what they are doing that's constructive, that's good. You're happy about it. You're happy for them. Not just happy for yourself, but happy for them. Instead of being jealous, instead of judging others, okay? That's not 随喜功德. All right. It's that simple. And that's my master's teaching. And that's Universal Worthy Bodhisattva's fifth practice. Okay? And if you do that, you are in accord with the Dharma. Okay? In particular, you people out there, you can't even not even see others' levels, then shut up and practice 随喜功德. Instead of criticizing others, you should be praising what they're doing that's right and ignore what you don't understand because you're stupid. Honestly, you cannot recognize people's levels, you're stupid. You don't have any wisdom. I'm not insulting you, I'm reminding you that you cannot recognize people's levels because you have no wisdom whatsoever. Therefore, shut up. Do 随喜功德 instead of criticizing others, instead of judging others. Shut up. Use the mouth karma to create conditions for you to improve, to be taught. Don't open your mouth and utter stupid things for you to fall into the hells. All right. I hope it helps. Where was I? Okay. So, number one is that first dhyana. Because when you get first dhyana, it's important because I want you to experience what meditation, whether it's Buddhist or non-Buddhist, will bring you this kind of peace and bliss that worldly pleasures cannot. That drinking, that smoking, marijuana, using drugs cannot bring you. Only first dhyana can bring you that kind of pleasure, and don't deprive yourself of that. It's nice. It's not that hard to get there. It's not. If you're willing to sacrifice yourself, apply yourself for 3 months or less, you experience it. And it's wonderful. It adds one more dimension to your quality of life. Okay? But again, for us, it's no longer a problem. Okay? Before, I admit to you, I didn't know how to bring you the first dhyana. And that was my interest. And after a while, after experimenting for about 4 or 5 years, and I figured it out. Okay? And so became automatic. And this is part of the reason why we standardize our Weiyang style of training and teaching you chant, as in contrast, the Chinese, okay, they don't have such standardized, which makes sense because it's a different culture, different era. In the U.S., frankly, it's not the same anymore, okay? And that's why people are a lot more impatient. And unless you produce results quickly, they drop out, they quit. So that's why we standardize the process, okay? And so first dhyana is what you want to get to, all right? And how do you know that someone will reach first dhyana? When they reach first dhyana, I say, I like it. I feel calmer, I feel more peaceful than before. That's a sign right there. They have dhyana bliss. Okay? And you don't ever go back. Once you have that, you will always be able to get there. Okay? And you find out for yourself. So next level then becomes from first dhyana to next level, there's a range where it's called worldly meditation, where you go to second dhyana, third dhyana, and so forth. Okay, and you reach 8th samadhi. So the ranks, the levels are first dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, fourth dhyana. That's the form realm. Okay, meaning if you're dead, when you die, you have a chance to access the heavens in the form realm. And they're nice. They're very nice heavens. Okay? After that, you go into the formless realm, which is called 5th samadhi, 6th samadhi, 7th samadhi, 8th samadhi. And so from 1 to 8 samadhi is still called worldly concentration. Because, again, I'm not knocking anyone. This is Buddhist teaching. Believe it or not, from 1 to 8 is called worldly because you haven't really developed the wisdom that can transcend the world, meaning that you are still influenced by worldly thinking. It's very difficult for you to get out of this worldly mode, okay? And that's natural with us because we've been revolving in the wheel of reincarnation, and these seeds there from your journeys since beginningless time are so strong that it's very difficult for you to get to rise above these constraints. Okay, it's very difficult for you. It's not until you break through to first stage arhat with the Buddhist technology, primarily. That's when you're able to what we call have wisdom. You're above the fray, if you will. Okay? I'll give you an analogy. If you are a CEO of an excellent company, okay, a superior company, and you have such people who have been recognized to be so, they're able to have the vision, the visionaries. They're not regular CEOs, okay? They're not regular presidents and so forth. They actually are people who have visions. They can see further. They can see things that others cannot see, okay? It's because they don't look at the familiar. They look beyond the familiar, if you will. And that's the analogy. You're able to see further than ordinary people. And that's what I call a CEO or chairman. A true CEO or chairman is the one who has vision. As compared, by the way, as a CEO chairman, they're different from COO because COO basically do not need to have visions. They still are COO, meaning they make the organizations function. They don't need to see how to guide, how to plan for the future. Okay, it's not the function of COO, but CEO requires visions, and therefore, that's what I the analogy. If you are first stage arhat or higher, you are a superior CEO, if you will. There are a lot of CEOs out there who do not have visions. They're not visionaries. They're very good. They can make a lot of money because whatever they do, they excel at making money for themselves. Okay, but they lack vision. Okay, that's my standards for corporate management. Corporate management, CEO, chairman need to have vision. Okay, that's why you look at the visionaries like Mr. Watson, who founded IBM. Okay. And that's a visionary right there. So you see such people where they're able to have a vision. They're so far away. You see so far away. They're so adaptable that their philosophy, their influence lasted for a long, long time. They created the culture. They gave them vision for their followers to follow, to subscribe to and follow, and enable the corporation, the entity, to thrive and excel for a long, long time. That's a vision, if you will. So the same thing. When you reach first stage arhat, you're able to see beyond the ordinary. Okay? And that's very important. That's why when I started 20 years ago, I said, you ought to reach first stage arhat. Okay, because then you are an asset to the world, in my mind. Whatever you do, you could be a blue collar worker, you can be an office worker, you could be a department head, you could be whatever. Okay, you have the ability through your meditation to have visions, to see more than the ordinary at wherever you are. You are a superior individual in my mind. And that's why I jokingly said, if you think of hiring people, hiring CEO down to the directors, down to second level manager, we can start a new service for a small fee. Okay, which is a lot less than the Boston Consulting Group or Bain and all those companies. We can advise you, and you will not regret. It's well worth it, trust me. Okay, so first stage arhat basically is the level where basically I look at it as visions. Okay, that's very important. Okay, and you are less attached to the worldly concern. That's why you are able to have visions. You are a visionary because you see outside of the box, if you will. When you cross your legs. Let me tell you, once you reach first stage arhat, you want to meditate every day. You stop meditating, you are not using your resources. Let me give you another example for you. Have you heard of turbo? What is turbo? Turbo is it's an engine. They compress oxygen and they feed into this burn chamber instead of a regular engine. Okay, it burns oxygen, combine oxygen and fuel, and burn it. Okay, and so they use that energy created to propel the car, to propel the propeller. Okay, and then they invented the jet, and the jet is by they compress the air, feed into the fuel, and now it's a lot more combustible. Okay, it burns, it generates a lot more energy, And for the jet engine, they use it to propel the airplane a lot faster. Okay? So it's very important for the airplanes because it reduces the weight. The engine, if you use a regular engine, if you want to generate more power, you have to make the engine bigger, which adds more weight to the airplane. Therefore, if you want to go faster, you build a bigger engine. Therefore, you carry more weight, and therefore you are offsetting the increased power because you have to carry more weight. Whereas if you want to go faster, you use the turbojet. Then it's a lot smaller engine. Okay, it's lighter weight, and you go a lot further. Okay. And that's exactly what Chan meditation will do for you. If you are, and I simplify it for you, at every single level, okay, if you meditate every day, it's like you are using your turbo engine in your daily life. You don't use it, then you don't meditate. Then if you don't meditate every day, you basically are not using your turbojet when you need to. Like in the Porsche, my disciple gave me hint. Okay, that Porsche there. You go normally, but as soon as you need to pass someone, you press the pedal, and that's a turbo. You see that? So that's exactly what happens to you when you meditate. When you meditate every day, like we teach you to, it's very important, folks. When you meditate every day, it's like you are revving this turbo there so that you can. There's no lag. You understand? In the older technologies, the turbos, when you press the turbo, there's a lag. Okay? The better turbo nowadays is like no lag at all. You press on the pedal and zoom, very much like an EV. Okay? And so that's why you want to get into the habit of meditating every day and invest in yourself. Like Mr. Buffet says, is the best investment for you, okay, that you will never lose, is to invest in yourself. And he's talking about education and skills and so forth. I'm talking about your turbo engine. You invest in yourself by meditating every day. Trust me. And by listening to the Dharma. This is the model we're giving you right now. We're giving you the sitting practice, okay, accompanied by listening to the Dharma. You don't simply sit alone. You have to listen to the Dharma. Then you continue to improve a lot quicker than you think. Meaning that you sit every day. I have a lot of my disciples who would get up early in the morning, and their spouses who would frown and complain about it and whine about it. Why you get up and losers? Okay, and you meditate every day. Okay, and then when they go to work, they drive to work. They turn on the MP3, turn on whatever, they listen. That's what you ought to be doing. And this is extremely, extremely important for yourself, for your well-being. Okay? So we got the first stage out already. Yes, Korea.
들리세요? 네네. 마스터께서 예전에, 일단 삼매를 보는 거에 대한 질문이 있는데, 마스터께서 예전에 제 기억에는 4명의 스님과 1명의 제가자에게 삼매를 보는 법을 가르치셨다고 하셨어요. 그러면 나머지는 그냥 짐작을 해야 되는데 제 질문은 삼매는 이렇게 누군가로부터 선과 정토를 배우듯이 가르침을 받아야 하는 건지가 질문입니다.
Master, I have a question about seeing the level of concentration. I remember what you taught us before, that you taught 4 monks or nuns and 1 layperson how to teach. You taught them how to see the levels. So my question is, just like Chan and Pureland practice to learn how to see the level of other people, is there something that we need to learn from it, or is there a certain method to learn?
When you need to, I teach you. But most of you don't need to. Okay, so we get to first stage Arhat. We're in the realm of what is called transcendental Dharma, meaning transcendental wisdom, meaning you're able to have visions, if you will. Meaning you are special. Whatever you do in the world, you're contributing because you're able to be able to see further than's required of you, if you will. Okay? So that's why as a company, if you're looking for a spouse, that's what I would do. Okay? I look for someone who can see more than I can. Okay? Who can see, they can see further. Okay? And who can develop to see further. So they are special, superior individuals, if you will. I'm not mincing words. Okay? Period. Yeah? You don't have to agree, but this is why we're doing this. We're doing this because it's very measurable, folks. For us, we look at your levels. Why levels matter? Okay, worldly people judge others by degrees, by their intellect, by their smarts, by their success, by their fame, by their money. Okay. All of those, what the worldly people use as criteria to judge you, okay, are the end results of the blessings, the materialization of blessings that transform into fame, that transform into good looks, that transform into smarts, transform into money, transform into being born into a good family, transform into finding a good wife that's better than you, okay, and so forth. All those are blessings. And the blessings are, if this is a blessing, it's transformed into money, into fame, into all the good stuff in the world, like worldly people recognize, it's called blessings, ultimately. It has to come from somewhere. In Buddhism, there's no such a thing as you just pretty. It's not possible. You're pretty because you have some blessings to be pretty. You have blessings to be smart. You have blessings to be rich. You have blessings to be famous. Don't ever forget that. You have blessings to be president. So, okay? The 2 steps. You have to have blessings and they have to be transformed. They have to be manifested into worldly things, material things. So the blessings are the source of the worldly success. But the blessings here, there's an equivalent. Blessings, this level of blessings, it corresponds to a level of samadhi. Okay? If you are 1A, first stage Arhat, your level of blessing is so much further above than the people below. 1 through 8, the blessings level are nowhere near the level 1A, if you will. Okay? Yes, they may look like us, beggars and have no money, beg for food and so forth. It's because the blessings, but doesn't mean that they don't have a blessing. It's just they chose to not have the blessings manifest in the form of temples, in the form of money, in the form of fame, in the form of disciples. Okay? They don't want to. Okay? So that's why in my world, I don't worry about how much money you have, how smart you are, how famous you are. Okay? That's secondary. What I look at is, what is your samadhi? What is your concentration level? Which tells me this is your current level of blessings. So instead of worrying about this and kowtowing to this, we worry about how to help you build your samadhi power. If you go up here, naturally your blessing will be like this. Like this. Or conversely, if those are people who cannot practice samadhis, then they can build blessings, and then naturally, in time, the samadhi will reach this as well. It's two ways to get up there. The Chinese traditionally chant, they only want you to go and do the meditation only. Meditate, meditate, meditate. And we will, and that's very important. It worked, like the Buddha taught. But nowadays, we don't have time to meditate anymore. We don't have conditions to meditate anymore. Okay? So how do you get up there? Create more blessings, more and more and more. So it's a dual ladder. Okay? You go this way, your blessing will go this way. You go this way, your samadhi will go this way. That's how it works. So let me now explain to you why I'm not worried about first dhyana anymore. Why? Because you have no ideas on how to build samadhi. But what if the thing I teach you to do, increase your blessings to the first dhyana level? Then you go into the first dhyana that easily. You got my secret now? There's a reason for it. There's a reason why you automatically get up to first dhyana within 3 months. It's both ways, both ladders. Got that? So that's the first dhyana. Okay, so that's very special. And from Buddhist perspective, let me tell you, typically you need to have Buddhist technology to break through to first stage arhat. Okay, non-Buddhist technologies, they don't know how. Okay, they don't have the expertise or the track record, by the way. Okay, and it's just my what the Buddha taught. You can criticize me and disagree with me all you want, but that's the Buddhist wisdom. Okay, next step, okay, is basically 3A, third stage arhat. Then I look at you differently. I begin to pay attention to you. Below that, I let my disciples worry about you. Okay? 3A, I say, interesting. Why am I intrigued? Because 3A to 4A, 4 stage arhat, I'm curious. Okay? Because of the very interesting step. Personally, I'm curious. That's why I want to pay attention to see how this person got from 3A to 4A. It is my personal interest, my personal research, if you will. Okay? I still do R&D. I don't rest on my laurels. I keep on doing, researching how to make it from 3A to 4A faster, better, more efficiently. Why? Because 4A is when I begin to pay attention to you. Below that, I'm not interested. Honestly, I have plenty of disciples who are good enough to help you until 4A, so I'm not interested. Okay? So don't bother me. You below 4A, good luck. Okay, well, don't worry. We have plenty of disciples who are able to help you. okay? And I use them. I use that experience to train him to how to be better instructors and so forth. Because if I keep on helping each and every one of you, my disciples would never know. That's what happened to my master's disciples. They never really trained how to teach people. And that's why it's all over. This one monk, one nun, they all teach different things about Chan. I standardize the Chan for my students so that they all teach the same thing, and it's very, very effective at bringing you up there. Okay? And I actively oversee them to train them, those who are interested in learning how to teach better. Okay, and that's why they need the drills. I cannot do everything. I don't want to take over from 3A to 4A, because then my disciples would not know how to do it, would not be good at it. Okay, so my interest is 4A. When you get to 4A, you are a special individual. Okay. You are what in Mahayana we called, you have real wisdom. 1A is you have transcendental wisdom, but the wisdom is very limited. 4A is still very, very limited, but what I call you then, most of you who rose to the ranks to 4A, most of you are trainable. Outside, when they get to 4A, it's very hard to teach them. They become fool themselves. In our systems, when you get to 4A, you get to 4A because I beat up on you. We beat up on you so that you're malleable. Okay? And we continue to beat up on you. To remind you, what? That you're not special. You don't think of yourself special. Okay? You're not that special. And we constantly remind you of that. Okay? And we probably are the rare teachers in the modern era that would do that. Because when we do that, we offend people. They are disenchanted, they get upset, and they badmouth you, they slander you, they come back and they bite you in the back. We're willing to pay that price in order to help those who are superior beings, superior students, to progress a lot faster. And yes, historically, we offended a lot of people, and they really, really did gave us a lot of grief. It's true. But that's the price we have to pay to help the rest of you good people. Okay? And that's, by the way, that's a way for us to screen out people who are worthy to be helped. Let me remind you, in our world, when we bite you, we are unfair to you. Okay? Sometimes we're just being ourselves. But most of the time, okay, and that's part of the training where we want to see how you react. Because personally, my teacher and his disciples have been very unfair, very mean, very cruel to me, okay? Instead of being depressed, instead of giving up, I used it to motivate myself to be better. Because I say, you better than me today? You don't think I am not worth it? That I'm worth it? Then let me prove to you and prove to myself that I am better than you. So I use it to motivate myself. Because I'm wired differently than you. Okay? So in our world, we have a certain processes where the best survive, and those people are real assets to society. Okay? Because they're humble. They're good, but they're humble. They contribute, but they don't brag. They don't make a big deal out of it. Okay? Why is that? Because that's the spirit of Mahayana. Mahayana is that we contribute, we help, and once we're done, we forget about it. If you've forgotten about what you did in terms of merit and virtue, how can you think you're important? Huh? How can you think you're special? How can you even hope that I remember you? Especially as I get older, I don't remember anymore. I lose my memory. Okay, I look at people and say, looks familiar. What's your name again? But I refrain myself. I wait for people to address you. Yeah, that's okay? We're the same, honey. We're the same, and that is called Alzheimer's. Be careful, don't want to be like me. Okay? So for I begin to pay attention to you because I will need to screen it out to make sure that when we give you further training that you will be okay. Okay? Instead of you using the more advanced training to go out there and hurt others. Because number one rule, no matter what, you cannot hurt others. So those of you, like my peers, who intentionally hurt others because they're wrong, because they're evil, that is the worst kind of evil that's against our Wei-Yang lineage. Let me put it that way for you. They could be evil, they could be wrong, but you cannot hurt them, you cannot harm them, period. If you have harming intentions and justify because you think, you believe they're evil and they deserve it, meaning they're, even if you face with the devil, Satan, whatever you want to call it, Antichrist, okay, you may not hurt them. Instead, what should you be doing? You should be doing 随喜功德. And that's the antidote. The 随喜功德 is the antidote to the harming mind. Don't judge them because they're wrong. Don't judge my president. Okay? Yes, he has a lot of issues. Okay? But look at the good things. That's very important. You have no right. You don't have enough wisdom to hurt people. If you have this mind here of hurting someone, of harming someone because they're wrong, because they're evil, you are worse than the ones you're hurting. Trust me. That's in a Wei-Yang playbook. That's why we put you in that position. Don't think that Wei-Yang people are nice. We have a lot of bad apples. Okay? And you can judge those bad apples because you said, this person is bad. There's harm this person. It's okay to harm this person. No, it's not. If you're that, you're not Wei-Yang lineage. Trust me, folks. We have this pride in our culture. If we are Wei Yang Chan, it's because we do not harm others. Period. Can I put it in a way that easy for you to remember? Huh? Remember this, and forgive me for my coarse language. I'm borrowing a line from my master. He says he's undedicated, his course. But let me go a little bit further, okay? For me, I judge you by this very simple line, okay? Do you eat shit or do you give shit? Okay? If you feel you're entitled to give shit, you will not receive training from me. That's why I start to pay attention to you. Once you reach 4A, that's when I start paying attention, because I watch you. When we test you, when we make it very unpleasant for you, do you eat shit or do you give shit? Excuse me, boy. You can ignore that. This adult talk, okay? Please forgive me. Okay? One day you're older, then you can listen to this section again. For now, ignore it, okay? That's coarse language. It's not for boys. There's a simple rule, especially you, trainees there, you, newcomers to our Sangha training program. I don't care how many years you have, how many Dharma years you have. You'll be tested so that I want to see whether you prefer to eat shit or you prefer to give shit. Can someone help me find a more elegant way of expressing it without offending people? Because I know a lot of people are shocked at that. How can a monk talk like this? Because as I told you, I may be educated. My vocabulary is very limited. Mostly I use a lot of coarse words. And please forgive me. Okay? That's very, very important. Okay, I have a few more minutes, so I'm going to ignore the question. I can wait until next time. So I get to 4A. Okay, now 4A, I begin to pay attention, because from 4A to 1G, that's what you want to be. Okay, really 4A to me, yeah, you special, but you're not that special. You get to 1G, that's when you're special. I really love you. Okay? That's when I become more tolerant towards you. Okay? I become more, also at the same time, become more demanding. Tolerant, but also demanding, because I expect higher standards from you. Okay? Tolerant because I give you more time. Below that, I don't give you a whole lot of time. Okay? When I try you a few times, below 1G, and you don't do it, you don't make it, I say, it's okay. Better luck next lifetime. Master is too busy. Yeah. Okay? 1G, I give you more chances. Okay? So 1G, and this is important, 1G, okay, to us it's very special, to me it's very special, but it's, how can I phrase it without offending a lot of people that's not here? For most of my students, when I get to 1G, they are so used to being abused verbally and mentally, sometimes physically. Although it's very rare, I assure you, that that it's not that shocking to them anymore. But for the Chinese system, like Mahayana system there, it's shocking to them. Okay, sometimes the way we train our 1G higher level and higher levels, because I'm running out, I'm out of time. From 1G, okay, in that 1G range, there are two classes. I call Hinayana Mahayana and Mahayana Mahayana. And when I talk about this, it's because we produce such people already from 0 to Mahayana Mahayana. Okay? Among you is that wide range already. And it will always be the case. Okay? So 1G to in the range of Hinayana Mahayana is where my master's program left off. He never could produce more than Hinayana Mahayana. That's why they never could understand in the translation of his teachings from Chinese to English. If you want to translate properly, you need to understand what the master is talking about. Okay? So that's why the translation is very good for Hinayana Mahayana. But for Mahayana Mahayana, you're gonna struggle a lot when you look at English translation. Okay? So that's why now we're in the range where it's very, very interesting. We're very happy for you. We're patient with you. We beat you up harder. You slap hard. We slap you harder. We use coarser words for you and so forth. A lot more than I just gave you about, about just eating shit. Okay. Sometimes we haven't used this word yet, but that idiot there is a chicken shit. Okay. Not just a coward, just chicken shit. If you want the real Mahayana word, Mahayana, we call such people chicken shit. Don't call coward. Coward is for you. Okay. So anyway, okay. So the Hinayana Mahayana is my master excels at doing. He's very good at that. Okay. But in order for you to go to Mahayana, you need to be prepared, okay? So that's why this range of Hinayana Mahayana is very important. We need to build a foundation for you, because when you get up there, it's very easy for you, when you look around you, oh, these people are such losers, and that's when your ego is very easily inflated, because you think you're the emperor, you think you're so special, and you are. Only problem, you cannot see a lot of people who are much better than you. And that's why in our temple, we constantly remind you of that. You ain't nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't nothing. You are nothing. Okay? Because there's a lot of people who are better than you. The one in flesh. We're not talking about the invisible ones who are here cultivating with you. Okay? So anyway, so that's why it's very important. Okay, the Hinayana Mahayana is very important, because we need to prepare you, pave the way for you to go to Mahayana. This is very important, folks. The reason, for example, okay, I give an example. Xu Yun is about borderline. Master Xu Yun is borderline, okay? And because he was not prepared properly, he stuck. He became enlightened at the age of 54. When he died at the age of 20, he's still Hinayana Mahayana borderline. Okay? Because there's no teacher to prepare him to go to Mahayana per se. Okay? So that's why I'm telling you this, to remind you that there's a lot more going on. Okay? And that's why, rule of thumb, what's the rule again?
Eat shit.
That's right. Are you eating shit? Or are you giving shit? excuse me, little boy. Okay? That's a very simple rule of thumb. Okay? So people with wisdom, they prefer to eat instead of dishing out. And they find it delectable. Oh, this is so good. Oh, Master is so mean to me. Master treats me so bad. And he abuses me. Okay? And that's how you stop being chicken shit. Thank you, everyone. We stop here today. That's all the time we have. See you next lifetime. I mean, next chance.